This holiday weekend, we're pressing pause and hitting the road, so to speak, taking you behind the headlines on a few of our top enterprise stories, featuring two major daily news pieces. Both award winners, each one will move you in a different way. The first is a long-form video taking you on a journey up the gut of Florida. In The Road Less Traveled, our team tags along with a long-distance hiker as she navigates the Florida Trail.
You're not thinking about the fact that there's a bunch of people in civilization all around you. You're just doing your adventure.
Then we switch gears and take on the trucking industry. An investigative piece launched from the Daily News introduced the nation to patterns of exploitation that led to Wheels of Despair. We'll have those stories along with the latest in our Positively Healthy Medical series. I'm Amy Osher, and this is Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Osher. Thanks for joining us. As urban as Florida's become, even with all the development the state is undergoing, there is still a wild side. I guarantee you few have ever seen it like this. Sit back and take in the challenge of a lifetime. This is the Florida Trail.
The trail goes through these spots that are unlike anywhere else in the country, and you're never gonna see it unless you're walking through it. I don't explain it to people. It's too hard. They have an idea in their head, and it's like me explaining it in words I can't really do it justice. I can't remember when I first heard about the Florida Trail, and I thought the concept of walking across an entire state was really interesting. And the people that have told me not to do the Florida Trail, in retrospect, I don't think any of them have done the Florida Trail. So it'll weed you out in the same way that every trail does. But that's what I had read. Hadn't heard of a lot of people completing it.
The Florida Trail was started 50 years ago, in fact, by a group of volunteers. Painted the first blaze in Ocala National Forest 50 years ago. It wasn't until 1983 that the Florida Trail was actually established by Congress as a National Scenic Trail.
Depending on which route you choose to take, it is around 1,100 miles.
Swamps are kind of our version of mountains, and you have wetlands and swamps and a variety of habitats, but certainly those are the most challenging to get through.
Big Cypress. The section where I was in the middle of a swamp, and there was just air plants everywhere, and it was just blowing my mind. I didn't know this was a real place. I've never seen anything like this, and there's probably nothing like this anywhere else in the country.
The Black Lagoon is your water source, 0.1 mile north. So there's water in 6 miles.
I think psychologically, I think it was day 5 was the first time that I ever, in my mind, was starting to formulate my final blog entry. Here's how I'm gonna quit this trail. I never once in my entire life on the AT or the PCT ever even thought about quitting. And on the Florida Trail, I was like, if this trail keeps, if it keeps it up, we're done.
Thirsty Turtle is only a couple days ahead of us. Thirsty Turtle. What's today? 25th? Okay.
After Okeechobee, I met Cerilia, and I was like, there's other people doing this trail. There's other girls wearing dresses doing this trail. Like, there's other people out here. And then every day we started passing one person and just meeting more people. The trail became a trail, blazes to follow. And I was like, I'm going to finish. I'm going to do this trail.
You played it as our like home set. I hear cars. The big road. No. Oh, I just saw a couple.
The people in Florida didn't understand or had never heard of the Florida Trail, and they weren't prepared for hikers to be walking in their front yard or like, right by their mailbox. And so like the road walks can actually be harder than the trail in that way.
What's up? Hello. Oh yeah. What's up, man? I got a bagel if you got nut allergies. No nuts.
I'm gonna eat donuts anyway.
The trail changes, not much, but it changes a little bit each year due to reroutes, or they find a better section to move the trail to, or sometimes, unfortunately, the trail gets rerouted because of, the property gets bought, the trail used to come on, or, for some reason that no longer the Florida Trail is allowed to be on that property.
Like on a really good through hiking moment, it's like you are completely within. Like you're not thinking about the fact that like there's a bunch of people in civilization all around you. Like you're just doing your adventure. And when you're on a road walk, it's like you're in reality again. There's a time when, for me, what I do is I'm counting up my miles. So I'm like, okay, I'm at mile marker 300, or okay, I'm at mile marker 400. I've made it 500 miles on this trail out of the 1,100 miles. I've gone 600 miles. And then all of a sudden, somewhere it just flips and you're like, I have 500 miles to go, or only 400 miles to go. And you start counting backwards, like 300 miles left. I have a week left. Like, and you start, figuring it out. Like, if I'm just keeping my mileage the same, I'm only 4 days left. Cerilia and Lint and I have experienced that, or like, we can't explain it. We saw it, and it's a, like a secret club that we're in that we can't explain to anyone else. So they won't get it. Like why I like to thru hike is because it makes you appreciate everything better.
It's like a terminus for ants.
I think it's really important to keep preserving what Florida still has to offer. The natural pessimistic part of me is always worried about it. Yeah, that's like a part of the reason why I'm out there now. It's like, it's not going to be the same in even probably a year or two. Like, I would like to maintain my hope, but I mean, I want to be able to see what there is to offer, like, while it's still here.
Both Katie Klan and Greg Stanley actually hit the trail in order to do this story. Katie, you took the video, which was really beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
How involved in the story did you get?
I would say pretty involved. I found someone who is through hiking the trail, which means hiking it from one end to the other kind of continuously. I found her on a Facebook group for Florida Trail hikers and asked her basically if I could follow her and document her experience on the trail. And luckily enough, she said yes and allowed me to kind of tag along for her trip. So.
And you popped in and out there. You didn't go from beginning to end every day. She took, what, 30, 40 days?
Right, yeah. She took 40 days, which is relatively fast for someone who's through hiking a trail. But I started with her in Big Cypress National Preserve on her first day at the southern terminus and hiked 3 days with her there up to I-75, which was kind of through the swamp area, and then popped back and went back to her, I think, on her 25th day or something like that, where I met up with her on the Suwannee section, the Suwannee River section, and Greg popped up for that section as well.
I was going to say, for something that's such a solitary pastime, they were getting to know a lot of people that would kind of take stride with them for a while, and Greg, you popped in and out as well?
Yeah, and it was pretty tough to try to keep up with them. I kept up with them for about 1 day, and I couldn't walk the next 3 days probably afterwards.
Oh my goodness.
They walk very fast.
And that was just me carrying a notepad, and I know Katie was following them for much longer sometimes with the whole full camera gear, and it was pretty amazing.
You know, and that's fine that, you know, you've got company, you've got scenery. What you don't have is like the luxuries of food and things like that. Do you find yourself thinking about eating or drinking because you've got such a long way to go and nothing around you?
Gretchen, who is the through hiker that we followed, she found herself craving things like Sour Patch Kids or just kind of small things. There's even one point where she said, you know, through hiking makes you appreciate the little things like sleeping in a bed at night or the small kind of comfort foods that you like.
I bet it would. And then Greg, you had to put up the print story for the newspaper on that. And so you were able to get a lot of context though about what the trail, where it goes, how the land is preserved, et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely. And we even embedded with some volunteers for a little while too. Not just we followed the people who were hiking it, but then we also with the people, the Florida Trail Association, all these volunteers who maintain it, have to go out there every year and literally beat back the brush with, you know, chainsaws and this overgrown wild that they keep a footpath that you can follow. They paint the blazes that you can see. So we spent a lot of time with them learning how they do it. We spent a lot of time with the U.S. Forestry Service, the officials that you know, they're in charge of the more behind the books kind of stuff. How are we going to get this trail from point A to point B? You know, how do we eliminate some of these roadwalks, some of these gaps in the middle of the trail?
It was interesting because people have heard about hiking the Appalachian Trail, and this one is not as well known, but it's kind of a challenge for people.
In Florida, as opposed to, you know, along the mountains and on the Appalachian Trail, there are swamps and beaches, and the roads actually present another challenge that I think a lot of hikers might not necessarily consider. It's harder on your legs to walk on roads than on a trail.
And I don't think either Katie or I had heard of the Florida Trail before we started working on the story and talking to them. And that was something that they kind of said was the normal. You know, everyone that they had run into,
I bet that
you know,
is the case.
Even people who live right on it, they hadn't known about the Florida Trail, or that it was, you know, one of 11 of these things, just 11 of these things in the country. So that's kind of part of the fun of the story too, and we hope that it helps shine some light on that and show people, hey, there is this thing that's right in your backyard.
Coming up, if that story inspired you to get moving, we have tips on playing it safe. That's up after the break.
Life here is amazing, and so is the joint care. At the Total Joint Center at Physicians Regional Healthcare System, we've changed the experience of joint replacement for good. With our comprehensive joint care program, most hip and knee replacement patients return home in just 2 days, because we know you want to get on with your active life. Pain-free living starts at Physicians Regional Medical Center, Collier Boulevard, and Physicians Regional Medical Center, Pine Ridge.
Hiring the right moving company is important. Best Moving and Storage is a family-owned and operated business serving Southwest Florida for over 22 years. From our free in-home estimate until the last piece of furniture is in your new place or stored in our climate-controlled warehouse, we treat you like family. Best Moving and Storage is fully licensed and insured, with all of our employees being certified drivers and packers. When it comes to protecting your treasured belongings, choose a company that's experienced and trustworthy. Call Best Moving and Storage today at 239-592-6565.
My name is Steve Unser, and cabinetry is my specialty. I have been creating custom designed cabinetry for 20 years in Southwest Florida, and now I am celebrating the grand opening of our new Naples showroom. Steve Unser Cabinetry will help you design your kitchen, bath, or home office with stunning results, offering the best quality of cabinets with a wide variety of design options and pricing to fit any budget. If your kitchen isn't becoming to you, you should be coming to us. Now, 2 locations to serve you.
Our series of reports under the headline Rigged revealed an ugly side of the port trucking industry. Since the first story ran, much has happened. Federal investigations called for, and the behemoth retailer Costco pulled its business from one of the trucking companies R. Brett Murphy exposed. Here's a look at Wheels of Despair. Rolling down our nation's highways, headed to stores near you, tons of merchandise offloaded at 2 Southern California ports, then shipped to well-known retailers across the country. The frontline drivers who transport goods from the ports in Los Angeles to nearby warehouses are at the heart of this story.
We are not human. We are a machine to make money.
A year-long investigation by the USA Today revealed a pattern of operations that exploited port truckers, forcing them to drive up to 20 hours a day at the risk of losing their job and their life savings. At the end of a pay cycle, they pocketed a fraction of what they earned, sometimes so little they actually owed their employer money.
One day I make $1,600 for my paycheck, but I receive only $35. Every check, every week is a deductible.
To understand this story, you have to go back to a 2008 law passed in California aimed at cleaning up air pollution that banned aging big rigs. Port truckers had to shift to new, cleaner rigs, ones they couldn't afford. So their employers gave them a deal: take it or leave it.
They said I had to sell my truck or else I could not work at the pier, and I had to get one of their trucks.
To keep their jobs, drivers signed complicated lease-to-own contracts. Most don't speak English and didn't understand. They were now driving to keep up with truck payments.
I made like 90-some thousand. After all the deductions, it was like 28, and then I had to pay taxes on that.
Labor Commission and court records reviewed by the USA Today network revealed a system of abuse, with truckers forced to falsify driving logs and work almost non-stop at the risk of being fired or missing a payment. If either one happened, all the money they invested, thousands and thousands of dollars, was lost.
But I had a house and I lost it.
The sport with the funny name is getting people up and moving. We're talking pickleball. Fun to play, easy to get hurt. In this week's Positively Healthy, we have tips on playing it safe. It's billed as one of the fastest growing sports in this country, and with its fast footwork, pickleball can quickly lead to injuries.
We'll typically see everything from ankle sprains to ankle fractures. And then in the knee, twisting injuries to the knee include tears of the ligaments and tears of the cartilage or the meniscus.
Pickleball is a cutting sport with athletes moving side to side. Taking proper precautions can set players up for a safe experience.
Playing on a dry surface, having proper footwear, stretching and loosening up prior to it are the best ways to prevent injury.
Orthopedic surgeon Brian Hanipsiak also advises his patients to stay hydrated to avoid muscle cramps, which can lead to fatigue and predispose you to injury.
Water's excellent, but when you're sweating and you're losing a lot of electrolytes, the sports drinks which offer electrolyte replacement can be important.
These recommendations apply to most sports. Still, along with the thrills, some spills will be unavoidable, but the benefits of moving are worth the risk.
I'd rather have patients with good cardiovascular health that are leading healthy, active lifestyles, and we simply treat orthopedic injuries as they arise.
Still ahead, we let Thanksgiving pass before we rolled out this. A lighted display sure to brighten your day. That's coming up on Behind the Headlines.
It's Behr's Black Friday weekend sale. Your last chance for doorbuster deals like these. 100% all genuine Italian leather sofas for just $7.97. $9.97 gets you a luxurious Natuzzi sleeper, this Bernhardt nailhead sofa, or this beautiful Broyhill bedroom set. And don't miss the final days of half off all Tommy Bahama and Lexington designs. Through this Sunday only. Behr's Black Friday weekend sale. Ends Sunday. Don't miss it.
The area's only 30 minutes or less ER service pledge means you'll find less waiting for the care you need. And because we're full service hospitals, a lot more care if you need it. Less waiting, faster care. Only at Physicians Regional Healthcare System.
Is your auto insurance keeping pace with your life? Ask for a AAA Triple Check Insurance Review to see if your current policy is still a good fit. An agent will assess changes in your life, like new vehicles or drivers. Make sure you've got the right coverage and all the discounts you deserve. They'll also see how a AAA membership can round out your protection on the road. Plus, provide roadside assistance, discounts, free services, and vacation extras. Ask for your AAA Triple Check today.
Should you be inclined to make a wish list of home furnishings, this may help you along. The design experts from Behr's are more than happy to share their know-how. Here's host Sue Huff with this week's Inspired Living.
Alan, this is such a unique statement piece. You've got to tell me more about it.
Yes, this is one of our new cabinets that it's a reclaimed wood. It brings in an element of a rustic, almost industrial chic.
You could use it in any decor, right?
Exactly. It crosses over from contemporary to coastal to, I call it a Santa Barbara look, which is a beach kind of feel.
Just kind of a fun, funky look, right?
Yeah. The texture of the woods helps to soften up and warm up a room.
Right.
With a lot of our contemporary settings, we don't necessarily want it sterile. We like the idea of a little bit of that aged wood.
And it's got character.
A lot of character to this.
A lot of character.
Yes.
Because we have the sliding, the barn doors, which are very big and in now, right?
Yes. It's one of the few ways you can still hide the television.
Right.
So,
and you don't have to use this for a television. You could use this for a lot of different things.
No, this could be party central. You could set this up
Right.
with all wine bottles and
Right.
wine glasses and liquor and ice buckets. So if it's a party room, this would be that kind of piece that could make a statement and still have display on the other sides. And then
because the shelf comes out.
Yes, the shelf comes out.
And your designers here will come out free of charge, I understand, right?
Exactly.
And see if this will fit in your home.
Exactly.
To make sure that it's going to be able to go in there once you purchase it, which is always great, right?
Exactly. Again, many of our homes have these long walls, and instead of having custom built-in wall units, this fills and makes the statement to anchor the room.
Great alternative.
And we can fit a very large television. So this is what I always recommend. Let's pick the cabinet first and then buy the TV to fit.
And the barn doors close.
And the barn doors close.
And you have many other unique pieces like this in the store, right?
Yes, yes. We have a lot of TV cabinets from small to the larger scale.
And you have a lot of other rustic and a lot of other pieces just like, well, in the same line.
In the same line, yes.
Yeah.
Each one's a little different.
So you've got to come, you've got to see these because these are so beautiful and such a statement piece. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
And finally, we all get aggravated by the rush to get holiday decorations up, so we waited until after Thanksgiving to share this story. Every year, Philip Baum pulls out all the stops, erecting a magical holiday display, complete with Christmas trees, inflatable Santas, a candy cane lane, and more. He's known for turning his North Naples home into a showpiece, but Philip almost canceled this year after losing much of his landscape in Hurricane Irma. Then he had a change of heart and realized what the community needed was a bright spot. That's a wrap for this edition of Behind the Headlines. Thank you for joining us. You can always catch up on past shows by logging on to naplesnews.com. On the left-hand side under Quick Links, select Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Osher. See you back here next week.